January 1935. A well-dressed young man checks into one of Kansas City's finest hotels. He gives a fake name, keeps his room in complete darkness, leaves the door unlocked because he's expecting someone. 2 days later, he's found dying from brutal stab wounds and head trauma. His killer vanishes without a trace, and when his mother finally identifies his body months later, she starts receiving letters ... from her dead son. This is the mystery of Room 1046, and it's one of the most bizarre, unsolved murders you've never heard of. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's case is different. No serial killers, no ghost stories, just pure, unsettling mystery. A teenager with a fake identity, a hotel room kept pitch black, and a woman named Louise who knew everything but never came forward. Nearly 90 years later, investigators still have no idea what really happened. Let's dive in. January 2, 1935, Kansas City, Missouri. The hotel President was one of the most prestigious hotels in the city, a luxurious establishment in what's now the Power and Light District. That evening, a young man walked into the lobby and checked in. He gave his name as Roland T. Owen, said he was from Los Angeles, and requested a room on an upper floor. He was given room 1046 on the 10th floor. He was described as well-dressed, polite, around 20 years old. Nothing about him seemed unusual. But over the next 2 days, the hotel staff would witness increasingly bizarre behavior that would end in one of the most puzzling murders in Kansas City history. From the moment he checked in, Roland T. Owen behaved strangely. He kept his room completely dark, curtains drawn, lights off, even during the day. When a maid came to clean, she found him sitting in the dark. He told her to leave the door unlocked because he was expecting a friend named Don to arrive. The maid thought this was odd but did as he asked. Later that day, a bellboy brought Owen some towels. Again, the room was pitch black. Owen was sitting in a chair in the darkness. He asked the bellboy to leave the door unlocked. He was waiting for Don. That evening, around 11 p.m., a telephone operator noticed something strange. The phone in room 1046 was off the hook. She called the room to let them know. A man's voice, not Owen's voice, but someone else's, answered and said thanks before hanging up. So someone else was in the room. Was it Don? Had Don finally arrived? The next morning, January 3rd, the phone was off the hook again. And again, the operator had to call multiple times throughout the day. Sometimes Owen answered. Sometimes there was no answer at all. The maid came by again and found Owen in the dark once more. This time she noticed he had a bruise on his arm and appeared nervous. He still insisted the door remain unlocked. Around 1 a.m. on January 4th, a hotel guest on the 10th floor reported hearing a commotion coming from room 1046. Sounds like someone was being attacked. But when staff investigated, everything seemed quiet. They didn't enter the room. Later that morning, around 10:30 a.m., a bellboy named Randolph Probst was sent to room 1046 to check on the phone, which was off the hook yet again. He knocked. No answer. He used his passkey and pushed open the door. What he found would haunt him forever. The room was completely dark, curtains drawn tight. In the dim light filtering in from the hallway, Probst could see a figure sitting on the edge of the bathtub. It was Roland T. Owen, completely naked, covered in blood. He had been beaten savagely, stabbed multiple times. His skull was fractured. Cord marks around his wrists and neck suggested he'd been bound and strangled. The room was in disarray, but strangely methodical. Towels had been placed throughout the room, soaked in blood. The murder weapon, a knife, was nowhere to be found. Owen was still alive, barely. He was rushed to the hospital, but couldn't speak. He died the next morning, January 5, 1935, without ever identifying his attacker or explaining what happened. Police investigated the crime scene and found almost nothing useful. The room had been wiped clean. No fingerprints, no murder weapon, no signs of forced entry. Whoever killed Roland T. Owen had taken their time, been methodical, and left virtually no evidence. But they did find a few strange items. 2 notes written by Owen. One said Don, followed by a phone number. The other said paid for room. Should be okay till Friday. There was also a label from a clothing store that didn't exist in Los Angeles, where Owen claimed to be from. Police tried to track down this Don person. The phone number Owen had written down led nowhere. They investigated every lead, but Roland T. Owen seemed to be a ghost. No one in Los Angeles had heard of him. His signature on the hotel register didn't match any records. It became clear that Roland T. Owen was not his real name. But then who was he? Months passed. The case went cold. Police had no identity, no suspects, no motive. They published the victim's photo in newspapers, hoping someone would recognize him. And then something strange happened. Someone anonymously paid for Owen's burial in a specific plot at Memorial Park Cemetery. The grave received flowers with a card that read, "Love forever, Louise," not once but twice. The first delivery had been sent to the wrong location, so Louise sent them again. Whoever Louise was, she knew the victim, cared about him, and knew he was dead. But she never came forward. Finally, in March 1935, 2 months after the murder, a woman in Birmingham, Alabama saw the victim's photo in a detective magazine. She recognized him immediately. It was her 17-year-old son, Artemus Ogletree, not Roland T. Owen, not a man from Los Angeles, a teenager from Alabama who had left home in 1934 to travel the country with a friend. Ruby Ogletree, Artemis's mother, confirmed the identification through a scar on his head and his cauliflower ear. She said her son had been adventurous, wanted to see the country, but she had no idea why he was in Kansas City or what happened to him. She had received letters from him while he was traveling, and everything seemed fine. But here's where it gets even stranger. After Artemis was identified and buried, Ruby Ogletree started receiving typewritten letters, supposedly from her dead son. Letters describing his travels, his experiences, as if he was still alive. Someone was sending her fake letters from her murdered son. Who would do that, and why? The investigation continued but led nowhere. Police had several theories. Was Artemis involved in something illegal? Was he running from someone? Did he owe money? Was Dawn his killer? Or was Dawn even real? And who was Louise, the mysterious woman who paid for his burial and sent flowers? Was she connected to his death? Or did she genuinely care about him and was too afraid to come forward? Some investigators believed Artemis was involved in organized crime or a smuggling operation. The 1930s were the tail end of Prohibition, and Kansas City was a hub for illegal activity. Maybe Artemis had gotten mixed up with the wrong people. Others thought it might have been a crime of passion, perhaps. Louise was a lover who either killed him in a rage or knew who did and covered it up out of guilt or fear. There were also theories about Artemis being gay and meeting someone at the hotel for a secret rendezvous that went horribly wrong, though this was never substantiated. The truth is, we'll probably never know what happened in room 1046. Nearly 90 years later, the case remains unsolved. Artemis Ogletree lies in that cemetery plot purchased by the mysterious Louise. His mother died never knowing who killed her son or why. The hotel president, now the Hilton President, Kansas City, still stands. And room 1046, though renumbered, is reportedly one of the most haunted rooms in America. What makes this case so haunting isn't just the brutal murder, it's all the unanswered questions. Why did Artemis check in under a fake name? Who was Dawn? Who was Louise? Why did Artemis keep his room dark and unlocked? Why didn't he fight back or call for help? Who sent those letters to his mother after he died? The mystery of room 1046 is like a puzzle with half the pieces missing, and the pieces we do have don't quite fit together. So what do you think happened? Was Artemis involved in organized crime? Was it a romantic relationship gone wrong? Did he know his killer, or was it a stranger? And who was Louise's murderer, accomplice, or grieving lover who couldn't come forward? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's strangest unsolved murders, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more true crime mysteries, and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the darkest mysteries are the ones where we'll never know the truth. I'll see you in the next video.